Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. Jason Lee is still pungent over Beyonce not being his bestie, and he is not yet taking steps to uncover Beyonce and her most profound and shadiest insider facts. Everything began last year when Jason flew off the handle at Beyonce for not welcoming him to her Renaissance film debut, and he took steps to spill some tea on her. Well, he is still really pungent over that, and things deteriorated after Beyonce actually didn't welcome him to the send-off of her image mysterious, and that just made Jason considerably angrier. He blew up that he at long last spilled a portion of the tea that he had on Beyonce and released a portion of the recording of her being an Ursier for the Hollywood elite, and Jason hasn't arrived to play it. Seems as though he needs all the smoke with Beyonce, so Jason Lee undermined Beyonce or Beyonce's group, and her PR individual. Purportedly, he's charging he has receipts on them. He's upset since he didn't get welcome to the Renaissance premiere, and I'm like, okay, he's professing to be associated, and I'm similar to on the off chance that you were associated, you wouldn't be frantic about it and you wouldn't attempt to extort Beyonce. Presently, would you all? I swear Jason Lee is experiencing difficulty finding companions since he is remaining steadfast and keeping his foot on Beyonce's neck after she didn't welcome him to the send-off of her Beyonce haircut line, mysterious, and he is currently taking steps to release that recording that he professed to have on Beyonce last year. Right now, it's beginning to get more clear and more clear that Jason, some way or another, thinks that he and Beyonce should be best friends or something. Hey, to that effect, it's giving fixation, since why in the world does this developed man continue getting pungent and carrying on in light of the fact that Beyonce didn't welcome him to her occasions? Then he continues forever discussing how he and Beyonce have forever been cool news. Jason, you don't coerce your companions well. Jason had individuals chatting via virtual entertainment last year when he released a blast of brutal remarks pointed at Beyonce. It was like he had an individual quarrel against her, as though she had intentionally plotted to demolish his life or vocation. The trigger for Jason's explosion wasn't some excellent selling out. Possibly it was basically on the grounds that Beyonce hadn't welcomed him to the debut of her Renaissance film. However, he felt reprimanded and couldn't contain his sharpness, adding that he was more meriting a welcome than any other person. As per Jason, he and Beyonce were close throughout recent years. Honestly, I view that as extremely difficult to accept. Beyonce's internal circle is more tight than a drum, and Jason's famous for spilling mysteries quicker than a broken tab, so he's not precisely Beyonce's companion material. His contention for meriting and welcome is focused on the way that he went overboard more than $40,000 on Renaissance show passes and Renaissance merchandise for himself, his family, his companions, and every other person he felt cheated by, Beyonce not recognizing him by and by with his help, and a solicitation to the debut. Well, Jason additionally blamed Beyonce for being hostile to dark, for evidently scorning various dark powerhouses from the occasion. However, we should be genuine here. Beyonce's history justifies itself. She's a mainstay of the African American population, so the possibility that she's barred forces to be reckoned with in view of race is fantastical. I think optically, when you do exclude other dark forerunners in the way of life in the crease, not simply remove me from it. The Breakfast Club? You ought to have respected and brought more darkness. And I burned through a huge number of more than $40,000 in tickets and offered the involvement of companions. And I've done a ton, and I'm not in any event going to express it here, since, in such a case that I did this web, Beyonce's great web would go extraordinary. And she gave the cash to pay Matthew. Beyonce killed it, so I don't see the reason why he assumes he believes he procured him a spot at the debut, like tune in if you don't put your tail down someplace. Well, he then, at that point, guaranteed that he had some zesty tea on Beyonce. And to demonstrate that, he concealed his mouth and spilled the tea on two others in the room with him. Yet he bleeped it out so he wouldn't hear. I will tell them while Johnny puts a signal over this piece of the show, so you won't ever understand what it is. Nevertheless, I believe you should see their responses, and I will do it right now. He then proceeded to say this, and he and Beyonce were still companions, and that they upheld each other in the game, and that is where I return to, like, we're companions in the game, we support each other. We help each other out. Might you at any point envision had I placed that on Hollywood? Well, this uneven fellowship is most certainly sketchy on the grounds that a genuine companion wouldn't openly slam somebody they consider a companion. In addition to it, appears as though he's the only one professing to be companions on the grounds that Beyonce has never at any point discussed D him, and the main time they cross way is at industry occasion where he presumably sneaks in on press rundown or something to that effect. I recall that cringe-worthy video that made rounds some time back, definitely. You know, the one where he attempted to approach Beyonce at an occasion, and she basically turned and ran into the other way. No doubt Jason that didn't shout BFs to me either. However, stand by, it gets significantly more over the top. He had the daringness to guarantee that he had receipts to back up his wild allegations and taken steps to spill the tea, except if Beyonce persuaded Kelly Rowland to beauty his show for a meeting. You all, it's the boldness for me. I got the receipts. I actually have the receipts. Yvette realizes I got the receipts. She has to be aware, and I think individuals like her marketing expert, who I love, and I'm simply being important, are exactly what I do. Do you have any idea about that EV that we're attempting to book for Kelly Rowland right now? If I try not to get Kelly Rowland in light of the fact that I expressed this about then at that point, then it will be an issue. Then I'm putting out receipts. The receipts I just educated you regarding. Then I'll put those out the flames. That will happen to that. I ain't stressed. I ain't going no place. I'm letting you know that right now. I'm not playing this industry game despite the fact that companions loathed how he was attempting to coerce Beyonce out. So everyone could see we were all the while considering what tea he had, all because, listen, we're extremely meddlesome and we need to realize the reason why you're denying them. T. At first, individuals sort of accepted that it had something to do with the charges about Beyonce supposedly escaping the medications. Last year, Beyonce's previous protector, Ron, emerged to guarantee that Jay-Z was purportedly keeping her sedated up so she could stay under his influence. Beyonce is on, doctor. She's been on them for quite a while, and you keep her that way before you all begin coming for me. I'm not saying that Beyonce is on the medications. Yet one thing about Hollywood is that there is a significant chronic drug usage among CBS directly in front of us. We have heard such countless tales about the wild gatherings that are tossed by famous people, and sort of a loosely held bit of information about drugs being passed around like party favors at these gatherings, as well as the wild things that happen when craftsmen go on visit. However, discussing visits and the way that Beyonce just completed the visit makes individuals keep thinking about whether Jason's alleged is about her utilizing drugs while on visit. Throughout the long term, there have been worries about Beyonce looking sedated or high at occasions like this b-ball game that she went to with Jay-Z. Individuals just couldn't quit discussing how she looks scattered now. Puma Right likewise supported The Guardian's claims about how Beyonce was supposedly being medicated by Jay-Z. He's a beast. And I know he's a beast, he is. I stood by quite a while to check whether you would grow a still, small voice. Furthermore, the more he siphons down his significant other's throat to keep her, she didn't contrast Beyonce's circumstance with that of Brittany Lance's requesting that fans start a Free Beyonce crusade since she believes she's a detainee in her marriage and she's caught right now. You all discussing Free Britney. You all should do a mission that says, Free Beyonce, Beyonce is free. She is a detainee in a gilded confinement. God, no, in the event that Beyonce is in jail, she's been one of the most costly the praise ever. Yes, she is, and she's watched 24 hours daily. She's not permitted to pursue a decision for herself. Not the least bit. Not at all. Individuals think she has an astounding life. She is determined what to say. She's determined what to eat. She's determined what to drink. She is determined what to wear. She was a DI fans likewise know something strange at the Grammys last year when Jay-Z advertised her a beverage she would not take it, and Jay-Z looked outraged. Welcome back to the Grammys, everyone. You know, when you equivalent a record, it's basically impossible that you don't get to grasp your Grammy and commend that. So, at the time, we as a whole sort of expected that Jason's team needed to do a Beyonce purportedly being snared on drugs. However, with what we know now, we should simply say that the medication issue was not all that Jason supposedly had on Beyonce. Several days prior, Jason blew up once more when Beyonce had the send-off party for her new hair care line. Mysterious, and indeed, Jason didn't get a greeting shock that made plainly Beyonce didn't think of him as a companion, and obviously his coercion endeavors were exceptionally silly. Well, this was when Jason chose to spill that tea that he had on Beyonce. Well, in any event, some of it, as per him, separated from the entire thing. He is presently guaranteeing that Beyonce. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.